Imagine Charles Schulz, the man who gave the world peanuts, the cartoonist whose simple lines and heartfelt characters touched millions, hiding a secret so crushing it nearly broke him in his final days. For 50 years, he drew peanuts without missing a single day, building a billion-dollar empire and becoming the most celebrated cartoonist alive. But in December 1999, one phone call changed everything. Schulz was found sobbing in his studio, telling his family, "It's all over." His hands trembled, his vision faded, and doctors delivered a gut-punch diagnosis that ended Peanuts forever, leaving fans stunned by a truth he'd kept hidden for months. Born November 26, 1922, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Charles Monroe Schulz grew up in a modest home, the only child of Carl, a German immigrant barber, and Dina, a former waitress with Norwegian roots who became a homemaker. Money was tight, and when the Great Depression hit, their small St. Paul life got tougher. Carl's barbershop struggled, forcing the family to move to Needles, California, for 2 grueling years, a time Schulz later called weird and awful. That fear of losing everything, of scraping by with no food, seeped into his bones and later into Peanuts, where Charlie Brown's quiet worries about starvation echoed Schulz's childhood. Just 2 days after his birth, his uncle dubbed him Sparky, after Spark Plug, the quirky horse in the 1922 comic strip Barney Google, a nickname that stuck through his life, even among colleagues, tying him to cartoons from the start. The Depression hit when he was 7, shaking his world. His dad's shop lost customers. They moved multiple times, and the uncertainty left scars. In Needles, the isolation stung, and those feelings of being an outsider shaped Charlie Brown, the kid who never quite fits in. Schulz had a black and white hunting dog named Spike, a quirky mutt who ate nails, tacks, and even razor blades without a hitch, inspiring a 1937 drawing that landed in Ripley's Believe It or Not when Schulz was just 14, his first published work and a spark of pride. But tragedy struck when Spike was killed by a car around age 10, a loss that carved a deep wound and later birthed Snoopy, the dog who'd become a global icon. Despite their struggles, Dina believed in his art, scraping together money for supplies when they could barely afford groceries, while Carl scoffed, insisting drawing wasn't a real job, creating tension that pushed Schulz to prove himself. His mother's cervical cancer diagnosis in 1938, when he was 15, was a slow heartbreak. She suffered for 5 years, her cries waking him at night as he drew comics to cheer her, moving to an apartment above the barber shop so Carl could care for her. She died on February 28, 1943, at 48, just days before Schulz was drafted into the Army, a loss that haunted every line he drew. At Richard Gordon Elementary in St. Paul, starting at 6, Schulz was so bright he skipped 2 grades, but being younger and smaller made him a target for bullies, fueling the shy, lonely streak that became Charlie Brown's core. His Ripley's moment should have been a triumph, but classmates mocked the drawing, and teachers brushed it off. Teaching him success didn't guarantee acceptance, a theme that echoed in Peanuts. High school was rougher. He flunked Latin, English, algebra, and scored a 0 in physics. And when his yearbook drawings were rejected without explanation, it crushed him, a rejection he later shared at 53 by publishing his old report card to silence doubters. In 1940, at 17, he enrolled in a $170 mail-order art course from art instruction schools, a fortune for his family, with Dina's medical bills piling up, studying by candlelight when electricity was cut, reusing supplies until they crumbled, and later grading art for the school to fund more lessons. Drafted in February 1943, he served as a staff sergeant in the 20th Armored Division, leading a 50 caliber machine gun squad through Europe, arriving at Dachau on April 30, 1945, a day after its liberation, the survivors' faces searing into his memory. He fired only once, forgetting to load his gun, but the Germans surrendered anyway, earning Schulz the Combat Infantryman Badge, a quiet pride. Before shipping out, he saw his dying mother one last time, promising they'd get a dog when he returned, a promise Snoopy fulfilled in spirit. Back in 1945, scarred by war and grief, he lived above the barber shop, battling suicidal thoughts but drawing to survive, taking a low-paying job grading art in 1946. There, he met Donna Mae Johnson, a red-haired accountant who stole his heart, inspiring the little red-haired girl in Peanuts. When she rejected his 1950 proposal for another man, Al Wold, the heartbreak fueled Charlie Brown's unrequited love. Schulz's first strip, Lil Folks, debuted June 8, 1947, in the Minneapolis Tribune, then the St. Paul Pioneer Press, earning $10 a pop, but in 1950, the editor refused to move it from the women's section or pay more, forcing Schulz to quit after 3 years, a gut-wrenching blow. Undeterred, he pitched to United Feature Syndicate, who rejected Lil Folks for being too similar to other strips, choosing Peanuts, a name Schulz despised as undignified, until his death in 2000. On October 2, 1950, Peanuts launched in 7 newspapers, earning $90 a month, forcing him to letter gravestones to survive. The first strip showed Charlie Brown passing Shermie and Patty, who call him Good ol' Charlie Brown before sneering, "I hate him," mirroring Schulz's inner pain. Snoopy debuted 2 days later, and by 1952, the strip grew to 40 papers, a 500% leap. Linus Van Pelt arrived in September 1952, later quoting Bible verses that sparked editor backlash, forcing Schulz to tone down religion to save the strip. On April 18, 1951, he married Joyce Halverson, adopting her daughter Meredith and later having 4 more kids, but money was tight. He once pawned his drawing tools to pay bills, vowing never to compromise his style. Snoopy's shift to walking upright on January 9, 1956, was unplanned, turning him into the World War I flying ace and Joe Cool, making him a global icon like Mickey Mouse. Linus's security blanket, inspired by Schulz's daughter Amy, debuted in 1952, sparking debate as psychologists called it a transitional object, with 70% of kids attached to similar items, fueling parent complaints. By 1955, Peanuts was in 100 papers, and Lucy's 5-cent psychiatric booth, inspired by Schulz's post-war therapy, tackled fears of failure, confusing parents but captivating kids. By 1958, it hit 355 U.S. and 40 international papers, with therapists using Lucy's booth in teaching. Snoopy's 1958 Sputnik-inspired space antics and NASA's adoption as a safety mascot cemented his fame. Franklin Armstrong's debut on July 31, 1968, post-MLK assassination, was bold. Schulz defied Southern editors' demands to segregate him, threatening to quit. Peanuts merchandise exploded. $30,000 in 1952 bought Schulz a $35,000 home. A 1958 Snoopy doll took off, and 1962's Happiness is a warm puppy topped bestseller list for 45 weeks. Ford and Hallmark deals in 1959-60, plus 20,000 annual products by the 1990s, built a $1 billion empire, with Schulz earning $30 to $40 million yearly. A Charlie Brown Christmas aired December 9, 1965, defying CBS's doubts about its jazz, kid voices, and religious tone, drawing half of America's TV households and winning an Emmy and Peabody, netting Schulz $50,000 initially and $50 million over time. But accusations of copying Dennis the Menace led to lawsuits, hurting Schulz despite winning. A 1975 Hollywood Walk of Fame star came as he hospitalized for exhaustion, his essential tremor shaking his hands, forcing him to grip his wrist to draw. In the 1980s, he rejected foreign studios' bids to alter Snoopy or Charlie Brown, losing millions to protect his vision. A 1974-77 syndicate battle over modernizing Peanuts led to secret backup strips by Al Plastino, destroyed after Schultz's furious new contract ensured his control. Woodstock, named in 1970, sparked lawsuits claiming it was stolen, but Schulz proved its originality, inspired by a childhood friend and Popeye's Alice the Goon. In 1981, quadruple bypass surgery halted his drawing for the first time, and fake Peanut strips with adult humor triggered an FBI raid dubbed Operation Snoopy. By 1995, Peanuts dropped from 2,600 to 2,000 papers, and at 75, Schulz hinted at retirement, furious at syndicate pressure to shrink strips or hire ghost artists. His 1997 five-week vacation, his first ever, used reprints to prove his necessity. In 1998, he secured a deal ensuring only he'd draw Peanuts. But in November 1999, emergency surgery for a blocked stomach artery revealed stage 3 colon cancer, spread too far, with strokes blinding one eye and chemotherapy sapping his strength. Doctors gave him 6 to 7 months. His tremor worsened, made drawing impossible, and on December 14, 1999, he announced his retirement on the Today Show with Al Roker, weeping, "It's been taken away from me." Signing his last strip, he mourned Charlie Brown never kicking the football, feeling like his own defeated hero. Schulz demanded no one continue Peanuts, and 95% of papers ran reruns. On February 11, 2000, he skated with his daughter, dying peacefully in his sleep at 9:45 p.m. on February 12. His final Sunday strip, printed February 13th, had Snoopy typing a farewell, thanking fans, a haunting coincidence after 17,897 strips across 2,600 papers, 75 countries, and 21 languages, read by 355 million daily. A 2007 biography, Schulz and Peanuts by David Michaelis, claimed depression and an affair with a younger woman, enraging son Monty, who called it lies. The 2002 Charles M. Schulz Museum in Santa Rosa, with 7,000 original strips, became a battleground. Honor the art or question the man. Schulz's 50-year streak, giving voice to the lonely through Charlie Brown, made him a legend. But his hidden health battle and personal controversies remind us even icons are human. What do you think? Does Schulz's art outshine his struggles, or do they change how you see Peanuts? Drop your thoughts, hit that like, and stick around for more stories.